My lords, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome back to Transport Fever 2 and the next installment of our Deluxe DLC series on an American Southwest themed map. The small town that we're currently overlooking is that of Norfolk. This is a town that hasn't been touched at all. We're in the top corner, the top right corner of the map, so the northeast of the map, if you will. And we're here today mainly because we've not done anything up in this portion of the map yet, and it would be nice to spread the love, but also because I think Norfolk will form our next major hub town. We already have Knoxville, Nashville and Carrollton, and I think, yes, Norfolk will be our next one, and it might even prove to be our last major city. So let's bring up the UI and get started, getting Norfolk up and running. I have made some changes in Norfolk, as you can probably figure out. I've upgraded the central avenues that dissect Norfolk north, south, east to west with a large 6-lane town road. I've just noticed here we have a little strange bit of road connection going on, so I think before we do anything else, we want to just tidy that up as well, just so it looks the part. So there we go, that looks a lot better now, doesn't it? And the first thing we're going to do is get Norfolk growing by supplying either the machinery or the food that they're needed. Now to do that, we're going to need a station in Norfolk, of course. And just for familiarization, this is where Norfolk lies. We do have some infrastructure nearby already. We have an oil line that runs down here, and we have this steel mill activated that comes down and feeds into this goods factory right here. In terms of getting the commodities into Norfolk that they require for that initial bump, we do have grain available at a farm just here and food available just down here, so that should prove to be pretty straightforward getting a supply of food into Norfolk. The other thing we need, of course, are machines. Now let's have a look around and see where the most viable candidate will be. We have this machinery factory here, just to the north of Murrieta. To activate this machinery factory, we need planks and we need steel. Steel should be fairly straightforward. We have a steel forge right here. We have 1, 2, 3 supplies or potential supplies of coal and 1 supply of iron nearby, so getting the productivity up there shouldn't be too difficult. We have a sawmill just to the south of Norfolk, which is quite close to our existing infrastructure, so we should be able to get a station in here and connect into our existing network. And to supply the sawmill, we also have this forest here, nestled somewhere between Norfolk and Wilmington. I think first of all, because it should prove the easiest option, we will go for the food. We also have this farm here to the southeast of Sioux Falls as well, so that's also a potential candidate for supplying the processing plant. Before we do any of that though, like we just said a few moments ago, we of course need a station in the city of Norfolk. And what we're going to do is try and do what we've done throughout so far, and that is have the station fairly contained, or enclosed within the city of Norfolk itself. Now I'm leaning towards putting a road between where this narrows down here across and then down here, and perhaps running our station from west to east along in this sort of area. And well, gut feeling, you usually go with it, so let's go ahead and get that done. And what we'll use are large roads in and around our station, so we'll bring a nice straight road out here like we said. Is that straight enough? No, that as we can see there, it's not parallel. That looks better. And then we'll connect that in. Okay, this is going to be a little bit awkward, so we'll just extend that temporarily. And now connect that in so it's nice and straight with those 90-degree angles. And then we can remove that road, we don't need it, it's just so we could get a nice connection to the road coming east to west here. This road we might have to remove. I don't think it serves any sort of town. So I'm just going to delete this all the way back. I think it's just an industry access road, and yes it is. So we'll remove all of that. We can always rebuild it later if we want to. And then we're going to put down our station, and we're going to use a passenger station for the primary skin of the station, if you will. And we will go for high-speed tracks now, but we're still going to avoid catenary at this point. And if we have the station, say, there, let's go for... well, let's just pause it and have a look here. We want a connection to Wilmington, so that's 1 platform. Grand Prairie, that's 2. Anything else down here? We have Sioux Falls, that is 3. And maybe down to these 2 as well, or they would be best served down here from Carrollton perhaps. So we're looking at least 4 or 5 platforms, because of course we want the mainline services to all our major cities in the area. So I'm going to say, in fact, let's go for 5 platforms. I don't really mind if some of the local services have to share a platform. So we'll start with 5. We'll put it right against the road, of course, like so. And then what we want to do is configure the station using high speed. Now we'll use slow speed tracks for the freight lines that are going to be coming in. We're going to put some cargo platforms in as well, so we're going to have a mixed function station. So let's put our first platform down here, like so. Another run of tracks on the other side. That opens up both sides of that platform, and I think we might just leave it at that, and then when the 3rd and 4th goods are unlocked for Norfolk, we can just have them drop off onto one of these shared platforms here. We're not going to be loading any commodities here, so the train shouldn't be occupying the platform for any great length of time. I think what we'll also do while we are here though is maybe bring these outer platforms into play as well, like so. And in fact, do we want to do that? No, I'm going to change my mind on that front, because what we definitely want to have are some cargo buildings on this side of our station. So if we can squeeze a couple of those in as well, just like so, and maybe one more. Now as we can see, that's gone a little bit strange with the road there, so we will have to do something about that. So let's just remove all of this road network that we've just built. I think this bit of road here is fine, and then what we'll do is use the flatten tool, just increase the brush size and the brush strength, and just make sure we have a flat area in front of our station, so we don't have that strange drop-off occurring outside our station buildings. And then we'll rebuild the road that we just had to remove, making sure we have that nice connection. In fact, let's come from this side. That makes more sense, and we can keep it nice and straight, and that looks pretty straight to me. Now it's still not perfect, as we can see. In fact, what we might do is just get rid of that road as well then, and just flatten the whole thing out here, like so. Let's see, how does that look? Maybe now just smooth it off now that it's all roughly level and flat with the terrain. That looks a lot better. Just blend out some of this as well, and down here. Of course, all of this is completely unnecessary, even if you had those initial sharp drop-offs, if you will, from the station buildings to the roads. It doesn't matter. The people will still use it, you still have the connections, but for aesthetic purposes I like to keep it nice and flat like that. It's a lot more pleasant to look at. Right, what we'll do now is extend the road there temporarily, bring in a straight connection here. Okay, it's going to be a little cockeyed, as we can see. Not much, unless we can shift and do it. No, we cannot. So let's just do that then. It doesn't look the best. I'm not too happy with that. At least this one we can keep it straighter. In fact, maybe the problem is the road isn't straight. So let's just try this one final time. If it doesn't work this time, then so be it. We'll just have to live with it. So that's straight. Now will you be straighter coming in? Yes, that's better. So sometimes it is worth just spending those extra few moments to get it looking exactly how you want it, and that to me looks far superior now. Okay, so that's the station. Let's just rename it to, well, Norfolk. And then we'll call this, oh, Norfolk branch. We'll keep Norfolk branch. So Norfolk will be the name of the passenger side of things, and Norfolk branch is the name of the freight side of things. Okay, so now what we need to do is start bringing in some of that food, or at least get the food production up and running. So we have 1, 2, 3 farms available in and around Sioux Falls food processing plant, so it pretty much is a case of take your pick when it comes to deciding which one we want to make use of. And I'm thinking we'll go for this one down here at the water's edge by the side of the river here. Run a nice short line into the food processing plant. Because it's a short line, the train doesn't need to be overlong because it's only going to be a short journey. They can get there and back pretty quickly. And then it's a case of running a line. Perhaps we'll have a snaky line that wiggles between all these hills and ridges here before coming into Norfolk, or maybe because our cargo lines are at the northern end of the station, we'll come through this way instead, maybe tunnel through here and then snake through these ridges and into the food processing plant. So let's build a freight station at the food processing plant itself, and if we can get a connection where we don't need that many tracks, we only need I'm just going to say we'll have 2 to start with. We might need to add a couple of extras later on, but to start the ball rolling, 2 is fine. Standard tracks is also fine. So let's put the station just there. Let's get a station down here as well, so we can actually get the grain being shipped inwards. And we'll probably have to go ahead and remove a farmer's field for this, but that's not too much of a problem. And we'll just use 1 track here. Get that active connection there, which we can see. Wonderful. And then we can lay a track from here that curves around and comes down into here. And that should all be pretty straightforward. Catenary is not required for this. So to start with, let's just have it do that. And then look at the line, see if we can make any improvements. I think that looks pretty good. Although it does look a bit strange. It's a bit off-center, if you know what I mean. It's not a smooth circular sort of curve. It's straighter here, then it arcs quite severely here. I mean, we're still getting good speeds, as we can see, 71 miles per hour. But I think we could make that look a little nicer. And I think what we'll do is we'll have it come to about there. Let's make sure we stay level here. We've got a little collision at the moment, but we should, through some position manipulation, be able to remove that. Now, what we want... In fact, let's have it do this. Let's go straight from the station at the current gradient height. Where's the snapping point? Oh, we're miles off it. There we go. There's snapped straight. And if we zoom in, pick that platform, bring this around, how does it look now? That looks better. And we maintain that top speed across the entire length of track, so that's an added bonus as well. So we'll bring that in like that. We'll double track it coming back down. We have the Polar Express. Very nice indeed. The CNO number 2694, 80 miles per hour. 2699 also at 80 miles per hour. I guess these are just reskins of the same locomotive. Oh no, that one's a bit slower at 70 miles per hour. Likewise that one, 70 miles per hour. Another 70 miles per hour. Another 80 miles per hour. Anything else? No, that's our lot. So we can have a look at those, perhaps use them on some of our local services somewhere. But for now, let's focus on this. We'll put the diamond in, so that activates both platforms for us, so we can take our pick. two-headed signal light on approach into the station there. Likewise, a two-headed signal light on approach to the station down here. And then we just want to put some blocking signals along the way. We're going to have multiple trains, not too many, but we are going to be running more than one train down here. And as I mentioned, because it's a short distance, it's a short run, we don't need the trains to be massive. We can get away with maybe a 10 wagon consist, and I think that should be more than adequate. So something like that. And then what we need to do is come out from this way, as we said, snake through here, perhaps a tunnel through this ridge line here, and then come on into our platforms up there. So back to our tracks, let's zoom in. So the first thing we want to do is come out, and again let's maintain the current gradient here, and let's get as high a speed as possible, 75 miles per hour. That should still leave us plenty of time and space to head in towards those valleys while still maintaining 75 miles per hour on any corners that we need to construct. So let's see if we can. We're heading this way. Let's go as far as there for now, and then what we'll do is just check the terrain height. So as we can see, you might have just noticed it there, we're at 11 meters at this area. What sort of height are we looking at down here? 8 meters. Okay, so we don't want to gain any more elevation then. If anything, we want to slowly start making our way down. Although looking at the terrain here, we might have to, because I think if we stayed at, oh no, it has given us quite a long tunnel here, as we can see. I suppose we could go for a cutting. It doesn't look too bad. It looks quite normal. It doesn't look ridiculous. So we'll take the cutting there. We've gone up to 12 meters, so we have climbed up just a little, but it's nothing too extravagant. Okay, that's great. So we want to now tunnel straight through this bit here. In fact, what we might do is head out from our freight platforms on this side. That's 75 miles now, that's quite nice. Parallel tracks here. If we can get a wide spaced diamond here, then that'll be great, and it looks like we might be able to. It might not quite line up, but I think it's close enough. Yeah, that's fine. So we have our diamonds, so we can use any of the two freight platforms there. Our tracks have come parallel, and what we want to do, that's going up to 10 meters. That's okay, because we're heading for a track that's at 12 meters height. So a bit of elevation gain there is okay. Slight tunnel through the foot of the cliffside just there, not a problem with that. And where's our tracks? We're over there. So let's use this track now, because this will form the internal radius, the tighter of the two tracks as we curve this way. Let's just pull it back that way a little further. You're going up to 15 meters, we don't want that. Let's get you to 12 meters, that's the height of the track over here. Again, it's given us a tunnel, but I think we can probably utilize a cutting instead, and yep, that looks perfectly fine. The train's gone a bit strange right there, as we can see, so let's just blend that out as best we can. Or maybe we'll be better off just flattening along the edge of the track there. Like that. How does that look? Doesn't look too bad. Over this side, let's just then smooth that bit out. That cliffside does look pretty natural. It doesn't look ridiculous, so we are happy with that. Okay, now for the outer track as we head in towards where our tunnel is going to be. And now if we just connect the two tracks together, what will it look like? So we're having a tunnel here. In fact, we probably don't need that tunnel, that small tunnel. We can have a cut in and again maybe just blend the scenery a little bit. Tunnel there, that's unavoidable, and we'd anticipated that anyway when we were planning this out. Bring you in as well. There we go. So yes, we have the tunnel through the cliffside there. That train does need some work because it looks ridiculous. So let's see what we can do about this. We're still getting those little ridge lines along the bottom, I think, so we might do what we did a little further back there and flatten out the terrain immediately next to the rail line, like that, and then use the blending tool just to have the cliff slope a little bit more naturally, like that. How's that look? There, it looks okay. It looks better than it did anyway, so that's the main thing. Right, so now what we can do is get the signals in position for the approach to the station. And we'll have a signal. I might set these back to where the tracks are parallel, so that'll be the approach signal for entry into the station. We need another one just before the diamond down here. Have we done the diamond yet? No, we haven't. So let's do a diamond here. We'll do it after this crossroads. So diamond across like so. Now the signal controlling access into the platform there. And then we just want the blocking signals throughout this stretch of track. And for now we can keep them relatively spaced apart. Like so. There and there. We might put a set of dwarf signals in that tunnel as well. I think we will do. So let's go round about here. Like that. Okay. Maybe get one more set of dwarf signals in that short tunnel just there. And I think that will work for that stretch of track just there. Do we have a rail depot nearby? Yes, we do. We have one here. So I think what we'll do next is, where does this go into single track? Just here. So we'll take a line that breaks away from this track here. If you stay at the same gradient, what does that look like? It looks awful. Let's get that looking a little nicer. Going the wrong way. Get in there, get in there. How does that look? Maybe down just a touch, and I think we're pretty good. Now this line is just initially going to be to allow access to this new station and infrastructure that we've constructed for the trains that we're going to run down here. So we're going to keep it single tracked, and it's just going to follow this river's edge. And then we're going to connect it in to the rear side of the station just over here at the farm. We don't really want it to start bridging over the river, however. The speed's a little slow there, but 68 miles per hour isn't too bad, so it's not a little slow at all. It's perfectly fine. So cross over there, come in to there. And then what we'll do is just put some one-way signals down here, because as I said, for now, we're only using this to get our trains from the depot onto the lines that we're about to start. So plenty of signals down here, so they're not having to wait here and block anything else in. There we go. So that's all set up and ready. I'm guessing we have catchment to the areas that require the food in Norfolk. Maybe not. I'm guessing it'll be the industrial buildings. Let's just check where it's needed. No, it is the commercial buildings, and we are meeting some of the coverage, some of the demand here, but we could improve it down here. So what we'll do is we'll put in a truck station perhaps here. We will expand it to a 4-platform truck station. So extra cargo platforms there and there. And then increase the length of them like this. We're not going to have an access point out the back. We don't have the room for that. But we do have connectivity between the two, the station and the central. Well, we're not going to call it Norfolk Central. We'll call it the Norfolk Freight Exchange. So we have connectivity, and then we're just going to put a drop-off point down here, just to make sure we get as much coverage as we possibly can. So truck unload point, let's put it about there, get a line set up first of all for this. So we're coming from the freight exchange to Chestnut Street. It'd be better if you came back this way, although sometimes I know when it merges into a smaller lane road and you have a junction, the game can get a bit funny about getting your trucks to go this way. Let's see if we can manage it. So add station. Yeah, you see it's sending it down here to turn around. It won't let them make that left turn to head up there. Okay. Well, I think if perhaps we upgrade that road size to an extra large street, then it might... that's better. Okay, so that's all fine. It looks a bit strange, but I prefer our trucks to be going in a nice loop system, which they now are. We want a road depot for Norfolk, and we may as well put that in and around our station area, I think. Can we get it, say, there? Yes, but it would give traffic light, so let's push it right back to there. Get a street. We'll use a one-way street for this. Oh, we have new coaches. That's good to see. We've not upgraded our buses for quite a while at this point. We also have the Douglas C49 Skytrain, the USA S160. The same again, but in grey. Let's just go and remove those traffic lights there. That's better. Yeah, it only needs to be a one-way road because nothing's going to be coming into the depot. We just send things out of the depot. Go back to the line because it needs a better name, and this is tea and this is food, and we are in Norfolk. If we can spell it correctly, there we go. We'll just let them pick up anything that may or may not be available rather than having them wait on the platform for an extended amount of time. And at the freight exchange, let's put it onto platform 4 like that. That's better. Let's get ourselves a couple of trucks then to supply this new route. You will be using the Opel Blitz tarpaulin trucks, and I think we'll go for 5 of those. Let's jack the maintenance up. Why not? Give them the colour scheme and apply them to the line. There we go. So the next thing we can do is get everything else set up. So those trucks, of course, they're going to be running empty for a little while yet, but that's not a problem. So let's go new line. No, we don't want to do that. We want new line. We're coming from the Sioux Falls Annex to Sioux Falls East. I'll probably rename them at some point. This is going to always be a full load here. And just for completion, you're loading grain. And that's all you're going to be doing. So this is RC, that's rail cargo, of course, and this is grain. And this is Sioux Falls SXFL. We don't go anywhere else, so we'll just call it Sioux Falls. Let's get a couple of trains. We'll use this depot over here. Yep. Buy vehicles. So here's the new vehicles that we've just unlocked. Quite a few of them. Let's have a look at them. So we have the Polar Express, which is obviously just a reskin of the Père Marquette 284 Class N1. Probably not really designed for freight duties, especially because it's not going to be a very big freight train. The USA S160, probably a bit more realistic, or what's this one here? Again, probably not the best for freight duties. Let's use the S160, shall we? Because it's only going to be a short train, and it's a brand new locomotive, so it's nice to get them on the network where we possibly can, or where it makes sense to. As I said, maybe a 10 consist carriage for these. That's still got a good rating, as we can see. We want the gondola on the back. Sorry, the caboose on the back. Yeah, the gondolas are in the middle. And shall we have... let's start with 2. We'll start 2. We can always add a couple more later on if we need to. So 20 million for those 2 locos. Come down here so we can see the line. Apply them, and they should start making their way down. And then what we can do is another new line from Sioux Falls East over to Norfolk branch. You're on a different platform, which is exactly what we want you to do. Here, again, full load if available, sorry, full load at all times, maximum wait time. Load in the food, and this is RC, this is food, and this is SXFL to Norfolk. There we go. So now we can get a couple of trains for that. And what do we want to use this time? Not an electric, that won't work. That might be a bit overkill. In fact, it will be a bit overkill. Shall we go for a double-headed diesel, one at each end, like we did in the last episode? They're not going a massive distance. Yeah, it's not. It's actually it's a decent enough distance now that I look at it. Don't know what I'm leaning towards. A class 9000 would be a little overkill. Mikado, perhaps. Maybe a double-headed Mikado. Let's build the consist first of all. Let's go for. We'll go for 10 again, like that. That's only a mediocre rating. Let's chuck on the gondola as well. The caboose. I don't know why I keep calling them a gondola. 50 mile per hour in 1.3 kilometers. 45 mile per hour in 5 kilometers on the medium grade. High grade you don't have to worry about. Let's just start with 1. See how it performs. And then if we need to double head it and double the amount of trains we have, then we can do that. So you're going onto the food line. Okay. So I think that's where we'll leave it for today's episode. It's been about half an hour. Oh, and in fact, no. The last thing we will do very quickly, because we don't need to worry. There's no real comparison to make here. Go to what am I looking at? What am I doing? Buy trains? No, not trains. Road vehicles. We don't have many buses, so this won't take long. We will very quickly improve all of our buses. So at the minute we are running the Schneider PB2, just for comparison's sake. Yeah, more capacity, more power, more speed. Twin coach 44S, replace all them, and I'm going to jack the maintenance upon those as well. Right, that is where we'll end it for today then. Just what do we want to take a ride on? Maybe we'll go from the depot to Sioux Falls East, depending how long that takes. Where is that train that we've just put together? It's not you. It's you, isn't it? Yes, it is. So yeah, we'll ride from here to the station at Sioux Falls East. We probably won't wait for a load or anything like that, because it could take a while for a full load to be generated. So yeah, we'll just do that. So let's pause the calendar, hop on board, and restart. Obviously, we're just waiting for clearance at the moment. This is single track, as we can see. Sorry for moving the camera about there. So I hope you've enjoyed the episode and you are continuing to enjoy the series overall as well. As always, at this point, a special shout out to my Patreon supporters, whose support is absolutely fantastic and deeply appreciated. So thank you very much to you over there. For now though, ladies and gentlemen, all that remains for me to say is, as always, take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.